Welcome to CMOs Offscript. We're experts in healthcare marketing, and each week we'll tackle one topic with unfiltered advice you won't hear anywhere else. Let's jump in. Good morning, ladies, and hello, everyone, and welcome to CMOs Offscript. I am excited for another fabulous conversation. This is going to be a good one. We had a lovely little drop from Nisha last week, and we decided that we had to talk about it. She shared a great piece of content that she just came across and really looking at B2B marketing. And Laura, you've been digging into this. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you and let's talk about go-to-market, B2B marketing, and what the plays are for 2026. And if we even buy into what they're selling.
Yeah, I love it. Good morning. Good to see you guys. And by the way, happy 2026. This is our first podcast of 2026. So it feels important. Good to be here with you on a Friday morning. Just note, we are all waiting patiently for this storm that's supposed to hit. We're each in different regions of the country and we're getting it in different ways. So we'll report back on how that goes. But let's go, guys. Ready? Got your generator teed up?
All right. Coffee is hot. We're ready.
Coffee's hot. Refrigerator's full. We're good to go. So this is a really cool report Nisha found. B2B Go-To-Market Report. And it was created by Growth Unhinged and GTM strategist Kyle Poyer, and I'm not going to say this name correctly, so apologies, but I think it's Samaja Voj, so apologies for incorrect pronunciations, but love your report. Super interesting, very detailed overview of what to expect in go-to-market this year, and so we're really interested. So we jumped in and we looked at some of the different things that they cover and uncovered, and not surprisingly, they talk about AI and AI search. That's one topic. So, yeah, I know. Crazy. So is AEO the new SEO? So AI search, AEO, is it the new SEO or the new hype cycle is one of the questions that kind of came out of it. So we want to dig in on that. We also want to talk about AI and pipeline growth and how has it contributed or not contributed. And talk about scaling. What's happening with scaling and how can you scale in 2026? What does that look like? So it's three points based on their data that we wanted to dig into. So again, thanks to the team who put this together. We found all of their data points really interesting. And so we highly recommend you guys check it out. And we will link to it from our website. So jumping in with, is AEO the new SEO or the new hype cycle 2025 state of B2B go-to-market? What do you guys think? What's your experience?
No, not a hype cycle. I think that regardless of what the acronym is, this notion of the traditional search is changing, and we have to get really creative in how people are searching for us. And frankly, there's been a lot of new talk about your buyers are now going to be agents in the future, right? It's no longer human. It's going to be an agent. And how do you make sure that your content is resonating and you're writing in a way that an agent understands? I think all of that is here to stay. And if you're not thinking about it, it's going to happen sooner than later. And that's where making sure that your teams are researching and keeping up to date and starting to think about and starting to add that as part of their workflow is super important this year.
I just want to say it was important last year. And for the record, Nisha dropped this little gift at the beginning of 2025 and was like, this is on my mind. Like, I distinctly remembered. And I immediately went back and I was talking with my team and I was like, y'all, we need to hop on this train. Like, the train is going to leave the station. Let's not be catching up. Let's be playing as this is unfolding. And my team has had a drastic impact, I would say. And maybe drastic is, little excessive here. But I think it's had a really meaningful impact on the way my team operates. I mean, we are creating even the way that we're structuring the website. We're putting things together differently in an effort to show up in that AEO search, right? And to everyone that doesn't know what AEO is versus SEO, please go take a look. If you ever do any Google searching, guess what? It's what's showing up at the top of your page now. Mm-hmm. It's not like your sponsored post. It's not even the folks that did the right stuff so that they're link showed up top, right? It's the people that are doing the work behind the scenes and answering questions on their website with FAQs and, in product information. And those pages may not even be showing up for you as a buyer, but guess what? They're showing up in search because search is looking for something different.
Yeah. And I think, Amanda, I'm curious, like how is your team making sure that their efforts in improving AEO, how are they tracking that?
That's great. I mean, a few different ways. Like they're actually going in and evaluating where they're showing up in search, like how they're showing up when they do basic search terms. They're looking at what the source is, like how much is actually coming from AEO. And I'll tell you, like, it's not always a ton, but part of this is also like, are you even in the consideration set when people are doing searches for things like top solution for XYZ, right? So those are the kinds of places where they're constantly doing searches and checking and evaluating that stuff. And then also going back and looking at the data to see like how much traffic is coming from AEO. And we're getting it. Like it's starting to show up. It's not always a lot, but I'm not always expecting it to be a direct conversion. I think that's a whole separate topic though, around like what is actually like a conversion activity versus an awareness activity, right? Like, are you building your brand as a solution in a specific category, or is this actually resulting in immediate conversion?
Yeah.
And
I think
before
that's
we
right.
move on to this topic, the one quick thing I'll say is the one thing that surprised me around the AEO conversation is how low PR was on the totem pole, and that there wasn't this direct correlation between the importance of third-party content that influences AEO. And I think that's the one, if the authors of the report are listening to this podcast, I think that's my one thing is I wish that there was, a back channel to, hey, this might not be high on a priority list, but these are the risks of what happens when you're not thinking about PR and it's part of your strategy. Because I keep telling people that if there's one thing that they're not thinking about, that it is like, how do you go get other third party folks to validate and to help boost those numbers up, because that is important in this new world.
And to be clear, like AEO is listed as the top priority and PR is at like the bottom. It's like bottom 3.
So I want to just do a call out here. We'll add this to our video podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll add in this graphic and we'll link it to the producers of it. But the chart that we're referencing says biggest bets for 2026. And this is the go-to-market channels where B2B companies plan to increase investments the most, measured as a percent that included it in their top 3. So go-to-market channels and the priority list, the first one is AI discovery or AEO. So that's why we're sort of locking in on this, is that is the top item on their list. And then PR is about 10 points down and only represents about 9% of spending. And I think one of the things that we talked about when we first looked at this document is it's really interesting. It's really well done. But what's confusing about it is we see how the different sources are linked. So PR is directly linked to AEO success, is I think what we're speaking to. Is that a fair statement? Or we see how these different line items link to each other and influence each other.
Correct.
They're not.
Pause though. I just had a momentary realization. We're already investing in PR. If this is where are you increasing investment? These are new channels that you may not have been making significant investments in before, and you're now just throwing shit into the mix.
Are you reading this wrong?
I wonder, because at the end of the day, right? If we look at, although I would argue, who's not been investing in LinkedIn, right? Pause. That's not a new channel for us. So, but if I look at this, large conference isn't very high either.
But even in the point of increasing investment, the fact that you're ranking PR, you'd rather invest in LinkedIn, versus investing in PR is interesting to me, because if your whole thing is that you want more AI discovery, right, more LLM search, and you're not making the adequate adjustment in third party
Right.
content, then it feels
Where are
like,
you going?
yeah.
Yeah. I would argue that PR is probably one of your earlier investments. And so then you're not having commensurate increases in PR relative to other channels, perhaps. So maybe that's the kicker in all of this. Maybe we should bring our friends from
I think we
Growth
should
and
see.
Think on the podcast. See
Yeah,
what they
I'd
have.
love to have them join us and talk through this some more. So let's jump back in. So we're sharing their report and we're discussing where they see based on their research, where they see growth channels, what channels that are having those growth. And what we were recognizing is our own surprise at PR being so low on the list, not surprised that AI or AEO is top of the list. Is that a fair statement?
Totally.
But also recognizing how all of these are so related to each other that it's sort of funny to see them carved out separately. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing the next question we wanted to dig in on was, has AI helped your pipeline? So really specifically with this question, what we're talking about is AI has created so much output. We've all seen it. Not all good.
The slop.
The slop. So this year, 2026, is kind of really about tuning in and saying, okay, we can't just create more volume without creating more conversions. So have people seen an uptick in their conversions based on the volume that they're generating? How are we reading this? How are you guys thinking about this?
Nisha, I don't know if you want to go first. I mean, my gut take, it's a quality over a quantity thing. My goal is to increase quality versus just increase, just throughput, right? I mean, I'm not trying to create more just for the sake of creating more. My goal is to improve, what I'm handing over to our sales team and make sure the leads that we're getting are the best quality. I mean, obviously, I can't guarantee that 100% of the time, but improve quality. And then that helps with conversion, right? If I can target in on the right buyer, I can give my sellers the right people to actually have the conversations with, which increases the chances of success in my mind.
Yeah. I am going to argue that the slop, quote unquote, that is currently circulated right now is not going to be the case in in each quarter, even because these models are becoming incredibly more, I guess, enriched, and the way in which they're connecting to different types of databases and entities, and you can connect your entire, if you've got a private server, you can connect your entire private database to it, and it's reading off of your own company messaging.
Yep.
And
it's amazing.
There's ways in which I think, you can make sure that it's not slop. And I think that is where companies are investing more in making sure that they're building the right foundation for that. So that is the part that I find interesting, because I don't think that I think the quality of the AI outbounded type of scenarios is going to get better as time goes on. But I do agree with you that the human to human approach, people just want to make sure that behind all of it is a human, right? That part is not going away, I think, in sales and building pipeline. I think it's almost like companies need to figure out what part of their sales sales process they can add AI to drive some of that efficiency, and then what part of it is genuinely just human to human connection that can never be replaced by AI.
Yeah.
Ever. Right?
Well,
and we all have to understand that as business owners.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned the human to human, because I think that's why we saw conferences do so well last year, right? You just want to talk to a real person, right? Cut through the noise, cut through all of the clutter. Can I have a real face-to-face conversation with you as a human being? Frankly, and we've talked about this before, and Laura, I'm looking at you, but that level of genuineness and humanness of our content is also really important. I mean, I'm always thinking about that when I looked at an email the other day that was in draft and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm sure you actually wrote this, but we actually have a tone and voice that we can like run this through like our agent and rewrite it. And it actually sounds less automatonic. Like I was like, this doesn't actually sound like a person wrote it. Let's retry. And literally the agent was 1,000% better. So
I think that's
no shade,
so
but
it's that. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's the human in the mix piece too. I think that. Yeah, go ahead, Nisha.
and we saw your face. We saw that.
We saw your
that.
Don't even. Yeah.
For anyone that's listening and not watching, there was a face.
Yeah.
On my face. So the thing about a lot of what we're saying, and this is like the sloppy, I'm going to go back to the sloppiness, right? And I think I feel like broken record, but the part of the issue with the sloppiness is the person that is behind the process itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you put a garbage prompt together, you are going to get garbage. And
preach.
this is the essence of what I think is the biggest change here for the next couple of months is the LLM. The thing, they're getting incredibly smarter. I can put together PowerPoint presentations based off of messaging, and that is 80% of the way there, right? Sure, there's some weird visuals that they'll put together, but sometimes it actually sparks something for me because it'll put together a visual and I'm like, well, why the heck did that happen? And then I'll go back and be like, oh, actually, that's an interesting concept, right? So it's a little bit of a thought exercise. But if you're not taking the time and you're not taking the time to put it out, like to invest in perfecting the process and the workflow, yeah, that's the thing is that it's not, to me, the human in the loop. Yes, I think that it depends on the use case, right? I'm always going to say that, but like, it really depends on the use case. But I do believe that we are so close that in the near future, there is a way to automate end to end a whole entire process with these agents and not have a human involved, because us as human beings, we are going to figure out how to put in the right level of prompting and intel.
Yep.
And the agents are so much smarter today than they were even 3 months ago.
But okay, I hear you and I don't disagree with you. But what you're still saying is it's about the human. So the quality of the human influences the quality of the output of the AI. And we still need that. We still need smart, capable people, which, by the way, sort of harks back to a prior podcast about resourcing and needing people who are really able to cover broader areas, not niche players, but more team players and people who can really manage the AI and are good at it. Because it still comes back, even though the AI is end to end, it's still about the quality of the input from the human. And I think that in my experience working with different companies, the comfort level with letting AI go is very low for a lot of these companies that are working with larger organizations, health systems. There's a deep nervousness about letting go to an AI. So there's definitely a lot of like building that experience and seeing it work and feeling trust that it's going to be able to do those nurture campaigns and without human intervention. I think that's probably one of my biggest challenges with helping our clients adopt some of the AI tools available is just trusting that it can actually do it in a way that would feel authentic to the company voice and to the relationship they want to build. And so there's a whole authenticity piece there that's just going to take time to build, I think. But I hear you, Nisha. I understand the capacity is going to be there, but I think the human we're just moving where the human gets involved or how involved they are. You know what I mean?
That's true.
All right. We had one more question we were going to jump in. So we can dig in on that another time. The other piece that we were pulling from this report is about scaling. So everybody's being asked to scale and scale fast. And So the question is really just, how has AI impacted your scaling? Do you have scaling that works? Where are you seeing growth there? Where are you holding back? And then one of the subtext question there is, what are you cutting? What are you not doing this year? And how are you handling testing versus just focusing on a channel and growing it? There's debate about reducing testing because we don't have time and we don't have budget. And we need to just focus and we need to just drive forward. So how are you guys thinking about that?
I think so from the aspect of testing and making sure that you've got some of those good best practices in place. I honestly can't imagine how we would never do, like, why that would ever not happen in a workflow and in a process. And honestly, it's kind of scary to me that people are suggesting that they're spending less time on it. And so I think that in itself has not changed. And in fact, like with some of what we're talking about the previous time, like I think the argument is like you need more of it because you just want more checks and balances to make sure that everything is accurate. And so I'd argue that. But from a scaling perspective, I think it is a lot about what I just alluded to in the other case around like trying to find a little efficiency within the process itself, right? And doing a little bit of an audit and trying to figure out, okay, well, where can I find little bits and pieces that worked? We are at this stage, my group right now is all about recycling. And I would say that's like one of the best use cases of some of these tools that are new is that you can slice and dice content much faster.
Yes.
Now, at a rate that you couldn't before. And being able to scale that way with content and saying like, how many different ways can I take this webinar and slice it into like various bits and pieces and generate new content from it, even because of like one little thing that perhaps there was a question during the webinar and it fed into something else. And so it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, I think it really pumps me up. Be like, what a time to be alive in marketing right now, right? Like, what a like fascinating, like things that used to take me weeks to do, I can now do in a matter of seconds, and it is beautiful. And it's like not about, I don't know. So if you're not excited in marketing space now, really, like let's check our heartbeat, really.
I completely agree with you. And I find myself wanting to do more because it is it's fun. Like, I don't want to just be out here saying this is what we need to do. I want to be in there doing because it's fun. Go ahead, Amen.
But I also think, no. But I also think there's that element of like, as a result of that, the expectations are also increasing around how much are we producing, right? Mm-hmm. So there's an element of volume as well, and also outcomes and results that are expected as a part of that. So cut back people, scale AI tools and resources in an effort to continue to grow. And I think in some ways that works, and in other places it doesn't, because I do think that human in the mix piece is still really important when it comes to a lot of these ideas. Testing. Can I just say, can't stop testing? Y'all, we work in marketing. Like, the world that we live in has not been static since I joined, like, the marketing team at my first company. Like, nothing looks the same. Like, friends, we didn't have Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram when I started, right? Okay, Facebook existed, but like, it was still like, hanging out mostly for, folks in college and a few people that were starting to get their profile set up. Like, we live in a fundamentally different time, and it is constant. Like, the rate of change isn't slowing down, it's increasing. And so as that change happens, if we're not testing, we're failing. Like, we're missing the moment. And so I don't think you suddenly stop testing. I think you need to make smart, targeted bets, but you have to test. You have to try new things. You have to explore it. And hopefully the goal here is learn and succeed or fail faster, right? That you're able to get inputs and data back quickly to be able to make decisions. But it's not an issue of let's just stop doing that, right? Let's not invest in testing. Maybe you have to scale it back if your budgets are getting cut, and be more targeted, but you got to test. You got to.
Yeah.
It's test or die, in my opinion.
Yeah. Going back to exactly what you said. I mean, I think if you don't have like QA process as part of your team, like you've got to. And I think we all do. I think this is why I find this so surprising, because I'm like, I think we all do. I think we are spending the time to do it.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of it is it's iterative too. It's constant iteration. It's constant reviewing the data, revising, fixing, cleaning up, making better, finding the message, the style, the channel that is working, and then digging in more on that and focusing on that. It's like, so the idea to not test is a little hard to sort of ratchet, because testing isn't this separate thing for us. It's sort of ingrained in our processes. So
Agree.
I will say, actually, revise this. We had stepped away from doing much with Meta for B2B. And then in the past year, we did do some testing on Meta, and we have found that there's been some good results. So for certain clients, certain situations, we're seeing some good traction with Meta. And so that was something we tested and were prepared to walk away from. We had a partner we were working with who was really game to test. Like that was part of the project, was very clearly identified. We want to test a couple different channels. And so we were able to do that. And for this particular project, Meta was more productive than LinkedIn for what they were trying to do. So that was interesting.
That's wild.
That's one where you can bring Crystal on for a case study too, because she can dig on that. Yeah.
Great.
Love that. Well, this was so much fun. I feel like we covered a ton, but I kind of like these like tear downs of like, here's one thing, and then we kind of address pros and cons. It's fun to just kind of think outside the box a little bit and riff. So thank you all.
Thank you
so much. And
so much fun.
Thanks to the team that put together this report that we were able to hash about. So we are grateful to, again, it's Kyle and Maja from Growth Unhinged and GTM Strategists. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. We'll
Take
talk
care.
to you next
Have
time.
a great day, everybody.
You too. Bye. Thanks for going off script with us. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to follow, rate, and share CMOs Offscript. We'll be back soon with more raw insights and real conversations with the voices shaping modern marketing. Until next time, stay bold.